So we've hit this Stuka, we're dropping in on at 6. We've got him lined up, another nice hit. Closing distance, this should be a fairly easy kill. More hits. More hits. How many hits is this bastard going to take? Jesus Christ, die will you? About bloody time. G'day ladies and gents, and welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome to War Thunder Moments. This is going to be a little compilation video that I'm going to put together with a number of battles where, well, the combat wasn't long enough to actually make a full-blown video out of. So I'm going to assemble a couple of little clips with a couple of good fights and some interesting moments. So we're starting off with the P-40 E1. Now, I haven't flown this plane in quite some time, but I did recently get a bit of a down tier, and as it turns out, it has had some flight model work somewhere in the middle as well. Now, unfortunately, I did find that the elevator still compression locks above 500 kilometers an hour, so don't dive too fast or too low in altitude. You will lock up and you will fail to pull out of the dive. However, I did notice the turning circle of the P-40 seems to have been significantly decreased. It's much more maneuverable at lower speeds at lower altitudes now. This, coupled with its slightly reduced battle rating, definitely makes the P-40 vastly more competitive than it was the last time I flew it. And Squire's going to hate me for this, but well, I needed to test the Wellington's damage model. Not much has changed. I am actually curious why there are so many Wellingtons in the sky at the moment. I got about 3 or 4 rounds in a Kaido in the P-40, and in almost every single one of them, half the enemy team consisted of Wellingtons at this battle rating. I'm not entirely sure what's triggering it off. It was a slaughter every single time. I mean, sure, I get that if the Wellingtons actually managed to make the bomb targets, they could potentially win the match. But most of the Wellingtons can't even get more than halfway across the map before it's all over. Yep, that new damage model is working out really well for the Wellington pilots. I think it's time that I go and find something a little bit more interesting to fight. Grievous looks like he's down below playing with the Hurricanes, although I don't think there's too many of those left. Has to be something around here that would be a little bit more interesting to get into a fight with. So it took me a couple of minutes to find what I was looking for, but eventually I found the last aircraft, a Typhoon at altitude. Surely this is going to give me a good fight. Maybe not. So, 3 kills in first place for that. Excuse me, I'm going to go take a shower. So this next clip is in the I-153 Premium Chiker, and it's going to be appearing in a video that I'm currently working on and will be uploaded to the channel within the next couple of days. And this clip is about surprise and fear, which is something you don't really associate with War Thunder realistic battles, due to having the markers giving away your location. So I've just come from a slaughter in the centre of the Korea map. I've killed about 3 aircraft at this point. I'm returning to base. I've blown all my rockets and I've ran myself out of ammunition. However, I'm being followed home by one of America's new cannon-armed P-51s. Now, he's engaged me a couple of times at this point and should be aware that I'm out of ammunition, so he's falling in behind me to get an easy kill, a biplane with no bullets. How hard can it be to take out? Well, if you don't want to be surprised, you need to keep your eyes on the target, and you need to keep your head on a swivel. 2 things that this guy, well, doesn't do. Now, I've just got the camera span around at the moment. I want to keep a track on him and see exactly where he is. He's in low altitude. He's just scraping the treetops at the moment, so he can't see over this ridge line that I'm currently passing over. As I pass over the second point, he's still low. He still can't see me. Dip it into a dive. Now at this moment my red box just disappeared because my plane ducked out of line of sight to his, so he never sees me turning right going around the mountain. Now I'm keeping it low and down, and I'm estimating roughly how long it should be until he is hitting that ridge line. Clear up over the mountain here, and sure enough, there he is directly in front of me. He's actually not quite as far ahead as I was hoping, but he's also not keeping an eye on what's going on around him, so he has no idea that I'm right behind him. Until right about now. Now his P-51 was already climbing over a ridgeline. He panics and pulls the plane vertical. It goes into a stall as I pass by. I just wing over and head back to base. However, he's just stalled over, nose down, going into a ridgeline between 2 mountains, and well, you can see how this is going to end. Who needs bullets? So once again, back in the I-153P Chiker, and this time I'm actually armed. This video will also be in my upcoming video, which, again, hopefully in the next couple of days, and I'm being engaged by 3 aircraft at the moment. Once again, it's America's new cannon-armed Mustang. We have a P-38 Lightning and a Spitfire 2B. So the Spitfire 2B and the P-38 just broke past my right wing, brought the plane around hard and fall onto their tail. The Spitfire is probably the most dangerous aircraft here, but the P-38 is nasty if the pilot actually opens up a gap and engages. So I eliminate him first because I have the best kill position for him. Shots through. P-38 gone. Spitfire to the rear, P-51 ahead, turn hard over, into the vertical, roll through the loop, fall in onto the tail of the Spitfire. Continue to bank around onto the Spitfire's tail. First shot's fired, solid hit, plane turns straight, pull in on at 6, finish him off, second kill. Now where did that Mustang go? And there he is along with the Boomerang. Mustang is closing in fast, turn over quickly, straighten the plane out and then take it into a loop, go straight up over the Mustang, fall in on his 6. Mustang's keeping the throttle open, he's pulling out of gun range rapidly. I am low on ammunition. I'm down to 42 rounds of cannon, so I'm not going to fire these shots at range. He'll come back. Bank off to the left. And you can see Squire and his IL-2 over in the background at the moment, hitting ground targets. P-51 is getting ready to bank around and make another pass. Now he's got the right idea, but he should really be trying to get some altitude so he has some extra speed in his dive. He's going to try and blow through once again. Loop over hard. Hard bank around. Fall through on his 6, go straight to WEP. This time he's within gun range. 2 quick short bursts. He's smoking and damaged. An extra shot to kill him. So that's 3 kills in under 60 seconds in the Chiker. However, my engine is starting to overheat and I have 1 cannon round left. I've got to pull back on the throttles in order to cool the engine down, and I have a Boomerang that is closing in rapidly. Now this is not actually a good position for me to be in to go into a fight. However, I did have a plan. My thought was if I could outmaneuver the Boomerang, I could drag it back to Squire and Squire might be able to take it out. Unfortunately, my tricks don't work as well as they do with anything else. Chikers have a weakness to Boomerangs. Left aileron is gone, the Boomerang has just taken my maneuverability. 1:20 left on the engine, it's overheating. That's going to be the end of me. But that's okay, I'm happy with being killed by a Boomerang. And speaking of Boomerangs, how about we take one out for the final clip. Now this is the Boomerang Mark II. You can tell by its white tail, that is really the only difference between it and the Boomerang Mark I. And in this battle we're taking on Japan. Now there's a couple of A6M3s in front of me at the moment that I'm taking issue to them still being alive. So we're going to go do something about that. This was a really odd battle and it was about 30 minutes long, but all of the action for every single player on the team all happened within the last 5 minutes of the battle. So one long-range snipe and immediately scored a critical hit on the first A6M3, bank it around, I've done critical wing damage, it's having trouble turning. This is going to be a nice easy kill, second set of hits, bring the guns around, aircraft destroyed. Second A6M3 is around to my left. There was a Raiden that was coming in behind me, but he got swatted down. Good cover work by the P-38G that was to my rear. 1.7 off target and closing, he is engaged with a P-63, the P-63 misses his pass, Zero sees me coming. Dips down and tries to go into a rollover maneuver, much like I was doing with my Chiker early on. However, well, if a Chiker couldn't dodge a Boomerang, an A6M3 is not going to. Second kill. Now there's only one enemy target remaining, it's a Ki-61 and it is getting swarmed hard over the runway. Closing distance as rapidly as I can. With a little luck this will be a 3-kill match as well. 1.7 off, closing rapidly, Ki-61 is approaching in. Only 4 cannon rounds remaining, but 3,626 rounds of MG, so that's not a problem. He banks away, so unfortunately I've got to get a little bit closer to get this shot in. 7.8, still closing. Takes a hit and starts smoking. I'm now in gun range, so I begin my shots. With this many rounds, no need to conserve ammo. Banks over to the right to avoid the next aircraft. Get the lead right. Good solid critical hit. Massive tail damage, excellent. Bank around to follow, but in desperation he tries to go head on against an F6F. Unfortunately, no second kill for me, I'll just have to take an assist instead. And why this was the only combat that I had for the entirety of this fight, this was one of the most interesting battles I've played in a long time, as the entire combat for this fight in a 30-minute battle all happened within 5 minutes from the first shots fired to the final death. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe. I'll catch you in the skies.